Hey y'all, welcome to the 47th episode of the Yarn This podcast. I'm Shama, Jessie's Girl 84 on Ravelry and Instagram. If this is your first time watching, thanks so much for giving me a chance. If you're one of my returning yarnies, thanks for coming back. It means so much. Today is Friday, August 18th, 2023. It's been a while, but a lot of things have changed in my life in the last bit. Things that I think will help me be able to spend more time focusing on this. I'm going to make some improvements and just try to streamline this a bit and see where we can go with it, because I do enjoy podcasting and talking to y'all, and I want to grow my viewership. So I'm going to give it a real honest to goodness try. And so let's get to it. First thing we're going to talk about is puppy love, my works in progress. I have several things that I'm working on mostly actively. One that I'm not working on right now, it's in timeout, but I'm going to pull it out and show you and explain to you why I'm not working on it. Okay, so the first thing I'm working on is my newest cast on, and right now it's the most important thing for me to finish, and that is my Rhinebeck cardigan. Yes, we'll talk about that later. This is the Douglas Cardi by Andrea Mowry. It's a DK weight cardigan, a striped cardigan. It's mostly just stockinette. I wanted to do something that would be easy, something that's going to be slouchy and cozy, but not heavy, super heavy. So I decided on a DK weight, excuse me, my yarn's tangled up here. I decided on this DK weight sweater, and it just looks like it's going to be really cozy and comfortable. So I knew that I wanted beautiful yarn. I always like colorful yarn. And when we were on our way to the 500 this year, I always stop at Arkansas Yarn Company. And Lori is just the best. She's so helpful and sweet. And I told her what I was doing, and she had a trunk show with the Charming You. And I found my first yarn, and I was going to buy yarn as we went through our trip, because I always stop at several yarn shops on the way. But she and I started looking around the shop, and we put together a really good mix of yarns, and I'm super happy and super excited. So I did my gauge swatch, and I never get it right the first time. I don't think I've ever done a gauge swatch that I can think of where it's right the first time, which is why you do it right. But I only had to do it a second time, and I washed it and blocked it and all that stuff. And I cast on. Now the cast on is just a 2x2 rib, but ribbing takes me forever. So I'm going to show you. The first yarn is by Charming You, and this is it. This is going to be the ribbing at the bottom and the sleeve cuffs and then the button band. And this is what it looks like. It is Neon Nights. Yes, Neon Nights. I have this on my Ravelry. I just started the page, the project page. And so, you know, they put them in alphabetical order, which is always my preference unless I'm showing you in the order that I'm knitting it in. Anyway, I'm going to do a stripe between each of the colors, and I'm going to just set this down right here. And this is the stripe. And it doesn't look, it's hard to see, but it is a speckle yarn. And it's got a lot of the colors that I'm going to be using. Let's see if you can kind of see in there some more of the colors. There's a neon, where did I just see that neon green? Anyway, it's got a lot of the colors, and even some that aren't, but that pull the colors together. This one is dyed by Lori from Arkansas Yarn Company, and this is her Yummy DK, and the colorway is Party in My Mailbox. I'm going to I think each color is 10 rows. So I'm going to do 8 rows of the color and then 2 rows of this. And then this way, if I decide to lengthen it a bit, I've got plenty of yarn. And it's a bottom up, so I'm going to start with the darkest color, but it's going to be repeated several times throughout because it's several stripes. The first one is part of a pack by Good Noodle Yarn Company, who I'd never heard of, but she had these kits there, and this is the Bellowing Walrus kit. I believe each of these has a colorway name, but for some reason I don't know this minute what it is, and I'll find it and put it on my project page. But this is the darkest color. It's a purple. It's got some kind of like neon pink in it, if you can see. It's a beautiful deep purple. The next color is kind of a fuchsia, and it's actually darker than what's showing up here on the camera. No, that's still not it. That's probably a little bit closer right there, but it's still a little bit darker than that. It's just beautiful. Then the next one is kind of a neon pink, but it's got purples and maybe that's a black in it. Anyway, here it is. It's just beautiful. I love this colorway. And then the brightest color is another one of Arkansas Yarn Company. This is her Sparkle DK, and this is called Highlighter. Does that tell you anything? Highlighter of My Life. This neon yellow, green, kind of a yellow green. I'm super excited about this. So anyway, see if I can do this. I'm going to try. Try picking up all 6 colors at once and showing you. There's my chin. So I feel like if I get separated from my friends, nobody's going to lose me. They'll know right where I am every minute of the day. Let me put these over here now. I'm trying to decide on a bag to carry them in. And I think I've decided it's a pretty big, it's like an overnighter that I got at Walmart in 2022 when we went to 500. And actually, I'll just show you. It's tie-dyed, and I think it's going to be a really good bag to carry all that in and have my cardigan as I knit it. It's got a ton of pockets outside and in, and I think it's going to be a really good thing. Then I can, if I want to throw other knitting projects in as I'm going to Knit Night or wherever, this will hold everything. Goodness, sorry. The next project I'm working on is something that I hadn't worked on in a while, and I picked it back up and I'm so excited. It is the Fiery Foliage Shawl by Stephen West. It's really hard. It's not really going to look great until it's blocked. It's super curly, but as it indicates, it's a leaf. And I think I may have shown this on here a long time ago. I started this last year. And this one has several colors too. Let me go back to my project page and I'll tell you what colors I'm using. Sorry. Let me go back. Goodness. Here we go. The Fiery Foliage Shawl. First I'm going to show you what it looks like. The yarns I'm using. Now, the colorways are, and these are not going to be in the right order. La Jolla, 2017 August. A lot of La Jolla Bah, B-A-A-H, is the month and the year that it was dyed. The darkest one is Kimmery's Knit Knacks Platinum Sock and Eat Your Eggplant. Then I've got 3 from Savvy Skeins. One is her Dazzle Sock and Wild Ire. Her Sensible Sock and Cornflower, which is this one. And then the last one is Nebula. And I'm super duper excited about getting this done. This is a little bit potato chippy, honestly. It's you kind of get into this rhythm when it changes, but as it changes to be like increase the leaves and decrease the leaves, you get into it. It doesn't take long, and it's a lot of fun. I really, really do enjoy this. So I'm going to keep this one going. Once I get past the ribbing on my cardigan, I'm going to work on this 30 minutes or so a day, most days. But then there are 2 other projects that I have going that I'm not working on quite as much, one more than the other. Excuse me, let me reach over here and pick it all up. And it's 2 pairs of socks. Oh, look at my adorable basket that I got at Houston Fiber Fest. I'll look up and tell you the name of the seller. She and her husband go to all the fiber festivals and a lot of other things too. But I'm going to pause. Okay, I had to dig those out of the bag. Okay, so the first thing I'm working on is the Stephen West Mystery Knit-Along socks. They're called the Contrast Blast socks. Now, this knit-along is finished. I'm not finished. So, but if you don't want to see yet, just look away. But here's the sock that I have so far. This is the ribbing at the top, obviously. And let me see. Can you see the cable right there? It's easier to see in person than on the camera. But the cable goes into this zigzag section, which then goes into like a block kind of section right here. I'm just about to the heel. This is another one that every 6 rounds, once you get the first round, that's easy just to do the next 6. So it's not something you have to look at least in the section I'm in right now. It's not something I have to keep looking at every 5 minutes. Now this yarn is both of these yarns are by Savvy Skeins, and I bought them. I worked with her this year at the Houston Fiber Fest, and I wanted to buy the yarn for this from her, so I did. The first one is the main color, and it's called Bordeaux. It's her Sensible Sock Base, Savvy Skeins. And then the contrast is Berry Crush, also on her Sensible Sock Base. I got her to help me pick out 2, but I'm telling you what, I love this. And in the past, I've had people tell me that burgundy looks really good on me, so I might have to buy some more of this from her later and knit something like a top or something out of it. Anyway, so those are the socks I'm working on the most. Now, the other one is from the Bakery Bears. It's a patron only, and it's the Summer of Stitching. I wasn't going to show you the finished sock yet. I was going to keep that for another one bites the dust, but all I've got is the cast on for the second sock. This is yarn that I got last year from Lolo Did It. Lauren did some Shark Week yarns last year, and I bought 2 of them. This one, and I talked about them when I got them, I think. But this one is Sharknado. And I divided the skein in half because I thought I might knit on these at the same time. So there's a lot more left. There's more than however much of this plus 50 grams. But this is Sharknado because I am crazy about the Sharknado movies, even though I'm terrified of sharks. And the first sock, it's the Beachcomber sock, is the name of the pattern. And it's a beautiful sock. Oh, I love it. I love the pattern on this. Here's the pattern. It's so beautiful. And here's the completed sock. I can't wait to get back on this. But like I said, my cardigan is kind of my number one. Once I get past the ribbing and kind of see how quickly I can move up, then I'm really going to start putting effort into these other 3 projects: the Fiery Foliage, the Beachcomber Socks, and the Contrast Blast Socks. Put all this back over here now. Oh my goodness. It's not good to have so many projects going, but I couldn't resist these knit-alongs, and I already had Fiery Foliage started actually before last year's Stephen West Fall Knit-Along. And so that's why Fiery Foliage went on the back burner, so that I could do that. And I literally just finished it last week, I believe. Anyway, it's ridiculous that it took me that long. It's a fun project. And I've got it. I'm going to show that to you in a few minutes. So those are all the projects I have going on in my puppy love. Next is another one bites the dust. So I guess the first thing I'm going to show you is a crochet amigurumi that I knitted for my niece for her birthday. She loves Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. And so she asked me to make her a Stitch doll. The crochet pattern I ended up using was a YouTube video only. It's not written. And it's probably good because there were things that I had questions about as I went, because obviously I'm not a great crocheter, but there was one thing she was doing and I kept thinking, that doesn't make sense. Why should I do that? Well, it's because Stitch's head now looks like Megamind. He's pretty cute. He's okay. But I'll put up pictures at the end. But here's what he looked like. And I thought, considering everything, and I just took that in dim light, he turned out okay, except for his head's just a little bit too long. And here's the back of him. Sorry. Anyway, so that's the Stitch doll. I did another crochet project, and it's gone to its forever home, and it actually went to the same home but to a different person. My brother and his family have a cookie company. They bake their cookies, and then they sell them at farmers markets and other places. And he asked me if I could make a chocolate chip cookie for him. And so I just found a crochet circle pattern, and then I knitted the chocolate chips over a couple of days, 2 or 3 days. So here's the chocolate chip cookie. It's a little bit more stuffed. I only took this one picture. A little bit fluffier than I'd like thick this way. But I also wanted him to be able to stand it up. And again, it's not perfect because it's me and I'm not a great crocheter. But I tell you what, I'm getting to where I really am enjoying watching a lot of some crochets. I think I even mentioned her the last time I podcasted. It's Elise of the La Petite Saint Crochet YouTube channel. She's so great. I mean, I feel like I could be friends with her. And the way she crochets, and she's also a really good knitter, but she makes me want to crochet amigurumi. I think that's probably the main thing I would want to crochet is amigurumi. But yeah, she does a lot of cute stuff, and she has written a few patterns and has them up for sale as well. But anyway, so what else has bitten the dust? Oh yeah, my Arnie and Carlos Easter eggs. I'm not going to show you those. I'll put them up at the end. But in 2022, I think I only got about 7 of the dozen eggs knitted. And it wasn't too long after we'd moved into the house, and we just had that leak that I think I told y'all about happened during all of that. And so I just didn't get them all done. Well, this year they released 12 more, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get those 12 and all the ones that I didn't done from last year and did them. And I ended up doing all of them, 16 or 17 eggs, which is another part of the reason I didn't get the twists and turns finished. I was determined to get those done. And so I'll put up pictures at the end, but I really, really do enjoy those. Yeah, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It was 17 eggs. And I also got a cowl done. It was in February knit along with the Bakery Bears. I think it was a patron only, but I can't remember for sure. And it's the Cherish Cowl, and it is beautiful. And I chose some blue yarns that I love, and I'll put that up at the end as well. And everything will be linked below. All of my project pages on Ravelry will be linked below. The big thing is obviously my twists and turns cowl. This shawl is an odd shape, and there were a lot of people who I think ended up not liking it. I love Steven's weird, quirky designs, and this one I was kind of like, okay, but part of it for me is the challenge of knitting this. I learn a ton of stuff when I knit his patterns, and I just love them. And when I finish them, I have finished this. This is something I put a lot of love into, a lot of sweat, maybe sometimes some tears. But I'll tell you first that the yarns that I used, like I said, it's a Stephen West. It's called Twists and Turns. I knit this on size 4, 3.5 millimeter needles, which I didn't tell you what any of the other stuff was knit on. I'm sorry. Again, it's project page, you can see. And I used Stunning String Studio in their Stunning Power Wash, Stunning Super Wash base in the stained glass, which is this color right here. The next one I used was Suburban Stitcher Sock in the highlighter colorway, which is this neon yellow. And I don't know if I talked a little bit about that before, which I'll talk about that in a minute. And then the last one, well, not the last one, but the Fiber Seed Sprout Sock was my beginning yarn, the one I decided I based everything else off of, and it is Jitter Glitter. It's speckled, and it's got a lot of neon speckles in it. So when I did this, I was like, I will do anything, but I don't want to do a neon yellow. Not because I don't love neon yellow. It is quintessential 80s color for me. I had a whole outfit, like a jumpsuit kind of thing that was in that color. I love neon yellow. But I thought, well, I'm not going to do that. And then I went to Suburban Stitcher, and I was like, can you help me come up with a color to go with this? And she pulled out this highlighter colorway, and I just went, that's it. I have to do it. So I'm going to show you the finished shawl. It looked like it wasn't going to be very big. And it's not super deep, but actually it's a lot deeper. I guess maybe because of how I blocked it. Not super aggressively, but enough to give it some depth. I'm going to stand up and show you. So here I'm going to start on the left, the right wing, I guess. I'm just in love with these colors. I'm in love with the design. And he said that you could knit I-cords to pull through these cables. And I pulled in a fourth for another color opportunity. And I think that there's a purple in this Jitter Glitter that goes perfectly with that. Here's the initial center section right here, the top part. And then you go back later and you pick up at the end with this, and then into this down here. And then, of course, this is just a repeat of the first side. But again, I just love it. And let me tell you what, this sucker is super duper. It's longer than my wingspan, which I love because then I can wrap it around. And my craft room is a little bit cold right now, so I think I'm going to go ahead and put it on. Okay, there are two other things that I'm going to talk about, but I think I'm going to put those off to the end because they're not knitted. There's something else I'm doing. Okay, so there are two things that I have that I'm definitely going to be working on in the fairly near future. One of them is the next Stephen West MCAL, and I think it starts in October. I hope that I can get started. I can't remember the date. Yeah, I will. I'll be able to get started before Rinebeck, and I'm just going to shop my stash because I've been saving up money to go to Rinebeck. So I'll shop my stash for that, but I'm super excited, and I'm hoping that I can keep up better this year. I'm just going to have to make myself. And then the only other thing that I know for sure that I'm going to be working on upcoming is the Arnie and Carlos Christmas ornaments that when they release them, and I have so many from the past that I haven't knitted. I would actually really love to start knitting on one every week or two. Realistically, will I? I'm not sure. But maybe once I get started on my, again, I say this, my cardigan for Rinebeck, maybe I'll feel like I can take some time every week and just kind of work on one because they don't take very long. Anyway, so that's it for the final countdown. Of course, there are so many other projects. I said last year that I was going to do the flamingo. I'll have to look it up. It is by, wow. You know what? I'm going to look in my show notes. Let me go back here and look. It is a pink, well, it will be for me, a pink flamingo flavor. And that is by, I'll have to look it up. It's got brioche in it. And I've done a tiny, tiny bit in the last year of Stephen West Knit Along. Well, 2021 actually. Flamingo flavor. I should know her name. Sosu Knits. Sosu Knits. And I know I've talked about her before. So anyway, I'm hoping to be able to do that one. Probably not until next year, though. I'll cover up my microphone. Anyway, so I've got a lot of knitting mojo right now. Fall is coming. I'm so excited. It's just over 30 days now. And I'm already putting out fall stuff. I'm fixing to get my husband and son to bring in my fall and Halloween decorations. And I want to have those up in probably about a week and a half or so. And yeah, I'm excited about the fall and the winter and Halloween and Christmas and everything that's coming up. So, a lot of exciting things going on. We are family. I'm going to talk about things that we've got coming up, things that are going on with my knitting friends, the online community. So like I've been talking about this whole episode, Rinebeck. It's something I always wanted to do, something I never thought I would do. And then I brought it up to a couple of the girls in the group, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. This was several months ago. I'm like, okay, I've got to start saving up for this. And I've been really, really good. So I'm getting pretty close to my goal. We're about to make our airline reservations. We've got an Airbnb booked. And then we're going to talk about other things that we're going to do because we're going to be there for probably 6 days. And it's going to be super exciting. I've never even been to New York before. And one of the girls is from New York. Susan is from New York. So she'll be able to take us around and show us things and things we want to do. And I would kind of like to be able to go to the spot in Central Park where Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan met up at the end of You've Got Mail, because that is the best scene. If I don't get to, I'm not going to come unglued. I'll get an opportunity eventually. I would love to be able to just step into Tiffany's, just because. Breakfast at Tiffany's, Tiffany Blue, all of that silly stuff. And then I would like to be able to go to Nitty City. Natalie of the Love and Stitches podcast just left Manhattan. They've been living there for the last couple of years. And she loves going to Nitty City. And then there's a bakery right near there where she loves to get cookie and coffee. And I think that would just be so much fun. I don't have to sit around. I just want to do that and find maybe a yarn that was dyed specifically for Nitty City. And yeah, I'm just so excited about it. I feel like a kid coming up on Christmas, although that's coming up sooner than we think. Okay, and the other thing I want to talk about is sewing. I'm starting to sew a little bit again. I haven't sewn a lot in several years. And my friend Michelle loves to sew. She loves to make bags. And so we all got together at her house for a bag making day, or just a sewing day. Most of us were working on bags. Our friend Alyssa was made, I believe, a top for her daughter out of a baby blanket. It's the cutest thing. And then she was working on something else. I can't remember what. But anyway, so we had sewing day, and it was so much fun. And I had bought a sewing machine probably 2 or 3 years back, and I barely used it. So I got to use that as a Janome. And it was great. So I went and bought fabric to do this. And I knew that I always want something bright and colorful. I thought maybe a flamingo bag or a unicorn bag, but I have fabric that I bought in 2021 to make some smaller purse-like bags. I always carry a huge purse with me, but going out to Rhinebeck, I don't want anything super heavy. going on. So I'm probably going to make one or both of those. And I thought, well, maybe I won't do flamingo or unicorn. And I found this yarn, this fabric that really called to me. And so I went back and I got it, and I decided to pull up another couple of fabrics to go with that. And so I did a dog one. Rainbow dogs. And then this right here, let me pull up the handle. Sorry. I just love my dog so much. And I do. I love her. And I love dogs in general. So those are the two fabrics. This one right here is a pocket. A really deep pocket. It goes all the way to the bottom of the bag. And then it's got a zipper, which I've never put in a zipper this way before. So learning things, which I love. I love learning things. And then inside, well, the top, it comes out, and then it's got a drawstring. So it can be really tall, really, really even taller than it is. It's a tall bag. It's a big bag. Inside is a zipper pocket, I believe. Is there a zipper pocket in here? No, maybe not. But pockets. And then I used, let me see if I can roll this down enough and kind of show you. Sorry. This fabric for the lining. Oh my goodness. Rainbow swirls. Yeah. Yep. I love rainbow. I look for rainbows in the sky all the time. So that, and then I did a backpack for my niece. Let me pause you. Okay. So when I went shopping for the dog fabric, I found a stitch fabric. And I decided to make my niece, I keep saying knit, you know what I mean, to sew my niece a backpack. It's her modeling it. It has a vinyl and then the stitch fabric. I'm going to show you another picture of her. Inside it's got a zipper pocket, I believe, and then I wish I'd gotten more pictures of the actual like inside of it and everything, because I had a different fabric inside it. Maybe I can get some inside pictures of it another time and show you. That was a challenge, but it was a lot of fun. And so now some of us are going to make backpacks to take to Rinebeck. I haven't even looked at fabric for that yet, but I've got to get that headed in the right direction, because we'll have to work on it a day or two every week to get it done. That'll get that headed in the right direction this coming up week. So back to sewing. Okay, I feel so discombobulated, and I'm sorry. Just give me a couple of weeks to get back into the swing of this, and I'll do better. The last thing is 1 week. Things about my life. We've had a lot of things going on. First thing is our son and daughter-in-law bought a house and moved out in July. Yeah, the end of July, beginning of August. It was a horrible hot day, but I told them, I said, I'll come help unpack some things or clean up some things if I don't have to carry boxes. So that was good. I know they're very happy in their new house, and they still live in this area, so that's nice. But when they moved out, that meant that there were rooms that were freed up. We have the dining room was their living room. We have plans for that, but that's down the road a little bit, so I'm not even going to talk about that, at least not right now. There were 2 other rooms up here. They had their bedroom, and then they had this room was their office. This is the biggest room other than the bonus space, which is where our younger son lives. It's kind of like a mini apartment for him. He works in there because he works from home. Has his bed in there, his TV, everything is in there. So I took this room after they moved out, and wow, do I love this room. And I'm going to give you a little tour. I'll do a separate video of a tour. But one of the things that I got to do in here is I had bought a little disco ball about this big, maybe not, yeah, maybe about this big at Five Below on my birthday a few months ago. I've always wanted a disco ball since I was probably 10 years old. And even though this one's small, I love it. And then I ended up buying these strobe lights, and they're up on the walls in here. And I'll do that at the end because in case anybody is sensitive to flashing lights, I don't want to do anything to anybody. But I'm so excited about that. I can have a disco going on in here for no reason at all other than I just love sparkly things and flashing lights. One of the other rooms, which was their bedroom over there, is now our workout room. We have a TV in there and we have some weights and stuff. And I can go in there every day that I want. And I'm trying to increase my exercise. I work out to a channel called Up to the Beat Fitness. It's a girl named Gina Boober from Australia. She's great. Lots of great music. She used to be a ballroom dancer, but she's not difficult. She does this for people who've never done ballroom or really danced. She's like, just do what you want to do, but move. And she has some weight videos. She's great. So I'll link her channel down in the description box below. And then the last room, which is my old craft room across over there, is our guest room. There's nothing in there right now. We have an inflatable mattress, so we don't have a bed. We haven't bought a bed yet. That's another thing that's down the line. But since before we moved into this house, before we sold our old house, we wanted to build Legos and put them up. And so I think that's going to be our guest room / Lego room. And I'm super excited about that. We also have our board game shelf in there. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Although we haven't started any Legos yet. That'll be down the road. Another exciting thing that's happened in the last several months is my husband got a new job. He's working at a company called Vacations to Go, which I had never heard of, but apparently they're a very good, successful company. They've been around for quite a long time, and what they do is cruises only. And they take cabins that haven't been sold by cruise ships, and then they sell them to people. And it's a great company. It is a great company. I haven't seen him this happy in so many years. He's already doing really, really well. It's just a matter of building up your clientele, but he's doing that. It's just amazing. They give you all the tools. They give you all the reason to succeed, and they support you all the way. Anyway, we get a lot of benefits from it. We're going to be taking some cruises. We're talking about taking an Alaskan cruise a year, like 13 months from now. That's September is our anniversary month anyway, so that's going to be great. So yeah, that's a very exciting thing. So it's called Vacations to Go, and I can actually put the phone number down there if you decide you want to take one. I'm not trying to sell anything at all, but if you call, ask for Indy, I-N-D-Y. That's my husband. That's not his name. They have to choose a name that no one else in the company has, which I think is interesting, so that if you're working with somebody and they call back and ask for somebody, they don't accidentally get with somebody else, so that you're still working with the same person the whole time. And so his name is Chuck. His real name is Charles. He goes by Chuck. He tried Charles, Chuck, Avery, which is his middle name. He even tried Dawson, which is our last name. But he's from Indianapolis, which I've talked about. And Indy, he chose Indy, and nobody had it, so that's his name, Indy. Anyway, if you're hankering to go on a cruise, and he does a lot of different ones. He doesn't do river cruises. He hasn't trained on that yet. But any other regular cruise, he can help you get a room, and he will work until he gets you where you want to be, if it's at all possible. Anyway, recently my nephews, who are now 15 and 16, came and spent a couple of days with us. couple of nights, and it was just amazing. I loved having them here. They hung out with some camp friends, but that's fine. It was amazing having them here. And hopefully soon my niece can come visit, and maybe I can teach her to knit. Maybe we can do a podcast together. She's 10 now, and I would love for y'all to get to meet her. The last thing is my mom. My mom's been in the hospital, and she's now in a rehab. She fell a few weeks ago at the place where she lives. They were moving her, and she doesn't use her prosthetic leg anymore. And she also hasn't been doing anything to keep the strength up in her one leg. And they were lifting her to move her, and her knee buckled, and she went down and got a horrible bruise. Not going to go into any of the horrible, gory details, but she ended up having to have surgery. And now she's in a rehab that's going to help take care of the area where they had to do the surgery. It was a bruise about this big that just went sideways. She's on blood thinners and things, so that didn't help. But this place is going to do wound care, but they also are going to do rehab. We don't really know what the next move after this is. Right now we're focused on getting the strength back up. And so that she can at the least, get back into her wheelchair and start moving around again. Because right now she's completely bedridden, except for the physical therapy. And I don't know what they're doing. I went and stayed with her first night at rehab, which was Tuesday night, and it was a rough night. While she was in the hospital, her neck was hurting, and I think it was just the pillow. It was nothing major, but I think it was just the pillow that she was sleeping on. So the hospital gave her Tylenol, and when that didn't help, they went from Tylenol to morphine, and the morphine really messed her up. Like, she wasn't thinking straight, and she was itching. And once she got to rehab, they do more pain management than the hospital does, apparently. And so, as of today, she's called me twice, and she seems a lot more in her right mind now. But anyway, it was an interesting night, because when I went Tuesday, I got there about 7 o'clock, and I was right at 12 hours since I'd gotten up. And I knew I really wasn't going to get to sleep. There wasn't really a place to sleep, and she kept waking up and waking up. Anyway, so I had taken a chair that I use a lot. It's a Buc-ee's chair. It's a camp chair that I got at Buc-ee's, and it's fairly comfortable, not for sitting in all night. But by about 6 o'clock in the morning, I knew that I had to drive home, and I knew that I was getting more and more exhausted, because I was at 6 o'clock, I was at 22 and a half hours of no sleep. So I loaded up my stuff, and I got in the car, and I drove home, which was a huge challenge, just staying awake. And I got home and did a few things, and I think by the time I finally got settled in and went back to sleep, it had been 27 hours since I had had any sleep. Yeah, I think that's the longest I've ever gone without sleep, and I don't plan to do that again. I mean, I didn't mind being there for my mom, but that's a lot. That's a lot. It was just one of those things we weren't really sure when she was going to get moved, and it was really hard to plan. But next time I will at least get a hotel room before I come back and just try to spend a day resting, or part of the day resting or something. I just hated to spend money on a hotel room. But anyway, a lot of really great things. Even though this was kind of a thing about my mom, it's a good thing, because she's going to get stronger and things are going to get better for her. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about, a lot coming up, and a lot of things that I want to talk with y'all about. So I'll be back in 2 weeks. Maybe I'll do some shorter videos in between here. I will definitely do a craft room tour, and yeah. So, and I'll probably bring sewing in as much, when I sew. It won't be all the time, but now that I'm in this bigger room, it's going to be easier for me to sew in here, and I have a sewing table. So anyway, as I keep rambling, that's all for now. And so until next time, knit on. Oh yeah, there was one thing that I wanted to say. I paused at the beginning because my dog was like jumping up on the table and knocking yarn off, and I thought, oh no, she needs to go out. So I paused, and as I was going downstairs, my son heard me, Kelby, and he's like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm going to take her out. And he's like, why didn't you get me? So he followed me downstairs and took her out. And all of a sudden the door flung open, and he came back in, kind of hopping on one foot. And he had slipped his feet into my husband's shoes. And there were two wasps in the shoe, and stung the top of his foot. Oh my goodness! It's swelling up, and it's swelling up. I know it hurts. So I took the dog. I decided to go back out front instead of out back, because I knew the wasps were not going to be happy. And I went out front, and as I was going out, I hung my middle toe on the threshold. Which I did on another door just over a week ago, which is why I think I did it again, and it is killing me again. So anyway. I don't know. I guess no good deed goes unpunished. My poor son was trying to help me, and he got hurt, and then I took over, and then I got hurt. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that little story in there. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.